Welcome back. Let me ask you a question. How do you deal with situations that just don't seem to be moving? Do you just kind of bail or do you dig in? Well, today we've got a wonderful guest here at the 700 Club Canada, Josie Pittiglio Vivona, and she's not only an author, but she's also a mother of 5 as well as a teacher as well. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Perseverance is something that we all need right now. And you're, I believe, a great illustration of what it means to hold on and hold out until a change comes. Now, you have 5 children, but you're also a teacher and an author as well. But something happened in your life with one of your children. Can you take us back a little bit to what took place?
Sure. So this was my last son, Christian, and it was about 7 years ago. And what happened was a couple of weeks before delivery, I had an ultrasound, and I found out that he was very, very sick. He had a diaphragmic hernia, so a hole in the diaphragm, and his intestines were up in the upper cavity. And one lung couldn't grow because of the pressure, and one lung was full size. So they knew that this was going to be a tough situation, and they knew that once he came out, they were going to have to put him on machines and to help him that way.
Now, this is as soon as he comes out, and usually this is a time when we feel like we're really excited and we're thinking about all the opportunities and everything of another child. What was going through your heart and your family at that time?
Well, maybe because I'm a teacher and I had taught a multi-handicap class, first year teaching. For every child, I've always prayed for a healthy child. From right when I'd find out that I was pregnant. And so, dear God, healthy child every day. So I've done that for him also. And when I found this out, I thought, oh my goodness, okay, I need prayer warriors because I've prayed and that's not enough. So I'm going to go out and ask people who I feel had faith. And so I'd ask them for prayers. So prior to him actually, prior to him actually arriving, I had a whole bunch of people praying. And so when he was born, I thought, okay, I've got all these prayer warriors. I'm giving it to God. I'm praying. And then it was still pretty tough because once he came out, he had 2 cardiac arrests within the first 40 minutes of his life. They resuscitated him, and they came into the to the recovery room where I was, and my family was all around. They all came down because they knew this was a sick child, and they came down for support, and the doctor came in and said, there's nothing else we can do.
Oh,
do you want to
goodness.
see him? It's like they brought us all into the resuscitation room to say goodbye.
So now instead of the future looking bright, everything's looking dim, and they're looking at last rites. And you're praying and believing God to do a miracle in this. And what happened?
Well, that's the first thought was, well, I'm blessed with 4 kids. Some people can't even have kids. And then I thought, no, I've got to fight for this child. And the only way I know how to fight is through prayer. So everybody around me, I said, please pray for a miracle. Dear God, please show us miracles still happen today. Show everyone here miracles still happen today. And I kept saying that over and over as they brought us all into the resuscitation room. And, he was under all the machines, and he opened one little eye, and my oldest son said, Mom, why don't you call him Christian since we've been praying so hard for him? And I would call his name. I says, Christian. And he held my finger under the machines, and we were just there waiting. But he didn't have another cardiac arrest, which they were expecting.
Yes.
And I had said to the doctors, oh, this is good, right? And he's like, not really. But somehow they stabilized him enough for sick kids to come and get him, because I knew only when he was stabilized,
yes,
sick kids would come,
yes,
and take him over to there. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is good, something's happening. And my brother was there, and he had said to the doctors, what did you do different? They said, nothing. So I knew God was working.
God was working.
God was working.
You wrote something in your book, and parents make a difference. And we're talking about the power of a praying mother right now, but you talk about healthy fear versus unhealthy fear. Because in that moment, when the doctors say there's nothing else we can do, how do you, because I know someone's listening to this right now and they're saying, you know, I know that crippling fear, but how do you know how to move from healthy fear to unhealthy fear and begin to battle against that?
Well, what I found was the moment that I had more of a unhealthy to healthy fear.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the hospital that transformed me. And so as he was in the hospital, he was under all these machines, and at one point they said, oh, you know, we're really concerned about the lack of oxygen to his brain. You know, they did tests on his brain, they did EEGs, and they said he's got a sick brain. And you know, so they were putting all this concern on us, this worry on us. And I remember being there at Sick Kids in front of the elevator and looking at all those children there that, you know, the cancer children, the ones that, there was one there that needed a heart. I knew one had to die in order for that one to live.
Yeah.
And I was overwhelmed with all these precious children that were sick. And I thought, you know, God, why would you help me? My child's no better than any other one here. And so I was almost giving up on praying because I thought it wasn't worthy, because everybody's worthy.
Right.
And then I had this pop-up Bible story come into my mind. It was the one about the woman who is bleeding and she's following Jesus and touches him, and he turns around and he says, who touched me? And he turns and he turns to her and says, your faith has healed you.
Yeah.
And I thought, is that what you need from me? You need faith? Fine, I choose to give it to you. I choose to thank you in advance.
Yeah.
Thank you for healing him.
Yes.
I said, I'm giving it to you, and I can't handle the stress.
Yes.
I says, I'm giving it to you. And all of a sudden, I felt a calmness instantaneously.
Now, that calmness, because you waited 2 years for your breakthrough. It didn't come right away.
No, it didn't.
And
it didn't. There was
in the meantime, because I know that there are people watching right now and they're saying, you know, but you don't know how long I've done this and I'm tired and it's dark and how do I continue on? What would you say to them? How did you persevere for 2 years? And then tell us how it ended.
Well, I kept thinking of that Bible story, and I kept thinking, okay, I choose faith. And so every time they'd come back to me and tell me something else was wrong. So one night, his heart went up to 300 and something. And I thought, okay, God, no, I know you're working. I'm thanking you. I know you're going to heal him. Then another time, they did another EEG, and it said sick brain again. And then when we were leaving, they said he's deaf. I had to go get his hearing checked, but he wasn't deaf. Then when we got out of the hospital, we had to come back in for another hernia. Then we got out again. We had to come back in for pneumonia. Then we got out and he had febrile seizures. But through all of that, I says, God, I know you're working. I'm thanking you in advance.
So you just kept thanking him?
Kept thanking him and remembering that woman that touched him and said, and he turned around and he said, your faith has healed you. I'm choosing to give you that faith because you gave me that story, and that is what I hung on to. That woman had that much faith that she thought, I just need to touch him. He doesn't even need to know that I'm touching him. That's all I needed. So that's
and how
what
is
kept
he
me going.
today?
Perfectly fine. I mean, his doctor says, oh my goodness, they're going to think cardiac arrest make you smart. He is amazing. I'm just so blessed.
Yes.
So blessed. I was even worried, what about if he doesn't know how to read and he doesn't know his letters and sounds? And that's at 4.
Yes.
They said at 2 I'd know that he was okay.
Yes.
At 2, he actually knew 98% of his letters and sounds. I'm like, oh my goodness, God, you made it greater than I could even expect. So,
Josie, you know, you are definitely a breath of fresh air and also an encouragement from heaven today. And I know that it's touching thousands of people as well. Thank you for your testimony. Parents make a difference, and you are a praying mother, and you just encourage my faith as well. You know, I want you to be encouraged to hold on and hold out as well. It doesn't matter what man says, but God has the last say. And remember, if you need more prayer, 1-855-759-0700. Prayer partners are standing by after the program. It's been great being with you. Continue to pray. We're praying for you.